Every personal finance guru tells you the exact same things. Pay off your debt as fast as humanly possible, never waste a single dime on convenience, and track every single dollar like your life depends on it. You're told that if you follow these strict rules, wealth will magically appear. But for most people, obsessing over every line item doesn't create wealth. It creates anxiety. You end up feeling trapped by spreadsheets, guilty over a $5 coffee, and completely stuck. There is actually data on this. A study published in the Journal of Financial Planning found that rigid adherence to traditional money rules is a massive red flag. It is the top predictor of financial burnout, the kind that leads people to abandon their plans entirely. Rigidity creates friction. When your system is so brittle that a $5 coffee feels like a moral failure, the mental energy required to keep going eventually runs out. This is how the correct habits can paradoxically lead to a total abandonment of your financial goals. Real wealth is rarely built through exhausting, perfect discipline. It is built by removing the friction that drains your mental bandwidth. And sometimes that means strategically breaking the rules. Let's start with a trigger warning. I don't pay extra on my mortgage. Conventional wisdom says debt is bad, and you should pay it off as fast as you can to sleep better at night. Financial researchers call this the difference between emotional math and actual math. Emotional math says zero debt equals safety, but that peace of mind carries a massive invisible price tag. The actual math, the bottom line, is the 3 to 4% saved by overpaying a low-rate mortgage. The top curve is that money invested in the market, earning roughly 10%. Over decades, that difference compounds, creating a six-figure gap by retirement. This same logic applies to hoarding cash. Keeping a massive cash reserves might lose purchasing power to inflation, but cash buys strategic leverage. With 12 months of liquidity, you don't panic sell investments during a 30% market dip. You walk away from bad deals. You negotiate from a position of absolute strength. Optimizing your entire life around emotional safety and beating inflation strips the flexibility out of your plan, creating a deeply vulnerable structure. Then there's the extreme frugality playbook. Scrub your own floors, agonize over the daily coffee, buy the cheapest version, and budget down to the last cent. Attempting to do everything yourself burns through your most valuable, non-renewable resource, cognitive bandwidth. Frugality without a time calculation becomes performative suffering. If you pay someone $40 to clean your apartment and you use those reclaimed hours to rest or build a side income, that $40 made you money. Spending on convenience preserves the exact energy you need to generate wealth. A draining battery shows how rigid budgeting depletes willpower through micro-decisions. Alternatively, an automated gear system runs without daily input. Applied to purchases, a $200 boot lasting 8 years costs less than replacing a $40 pair every winter, breaking the cycle of cheap replacement. Obsessing over the latte factor gives your brain a comforting illusion of control. But while you are agonizing over lunch, the massive decisions, like a bloated car lease or a salary you never negotiated, are quietly killing your net worth. The traditional advice extends to your social life too. Never lend money to friends or family. Say yes to every networking event, and don't spend money on courses or tools until you're completely ready. But most forced networking is just people-pleasing funded by your credit card. And when you lend money to relatives expecting it back, you instantly turn yourself into a debt collector at your own family dinner table. If you can afford it, give the money as an absolute gift and write it off mentally. You build trust instead of resentment. And when you say no to obligations you don't want to attend, you preserve your energy to show up fully for the connections that actually matter. You apply this same investment to yourself. Buying the equipment or hiring the coach before the logical voice in your head says you're ready triggers what psychologists call commitment escalation. Money on the line changes your behavior and forces accountability. Being fiercely selective with your presence and unconditionally generous with your trust creates a powerful network. Over time, that yields untrackable returns. There is one final behavior that ties all of this together. When a promotion hits, the natural instinct is to upgrade. A new apartment, new clothes, a faster car. Spending accelerates to perfectly match the new income. It's called lifestyle creep. Because of this reflex, a person earning $200,000 a year who spends $195,000 has less actual wealth building power than someone earning $80,000 who only spends $50,000. the $80,000 earner has a $30,000 gap compounding in their favor. Every habit discussed, keeping low-interest mortgages, buying durable quality, ignoring small expenses, and declining costly dinners, isn't random. They are defensive tactics designed to keep that gap as wide as possible. Real wealth grows in the boring, unglamorous gap between your income and your spending. It requires valuing that space more than the next lifestyle upgrade.